Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bigfoot Club. Robert Jesse Dominguez, Ash Tucker, Stephen Robert Dominguez, Earl the Pearl Kennedy. Believe in us, believe in Bigfoot Club, because we are too sweet.
Hey, this is Mike Hall, and you're listening to Bigfoot Club Podcast.
Hey everybody, Robert Jesse Dominguez, Bigfoot Club Season 2, Episode 27. Just wanted to say that if you guys are listening to Bigfoot Club, we're on all the platforms. We're on Stitcher, we're on Google Play, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Alexa. We're on pretty much every platform. So just give us a 5-star rating, give us a comment. Subscribe to us, so we would really greatly appreciate that. Also got some exciting news that Bigfoot Club is partnering with Bigfoot Crossroads and Cryptid Tales. So we're going to be collaborating with Matt Knapp doing that moving forward. So I'm pretty excited about that. I also wanted to push Crazy Cat Paranormal Speaks. They're on all the platforms as well, so give them a listen to. They're really good people. Cecilia and John Clark, really good people. I really like them a lot, and I listen to them every week. I don't miss an episode, so check them out as well. This week we're going to be talking to Matt Knapp with Bigfoot Crossroads and Cryptid Tales. So. I hope you enjoy it. Robert with Ash and Steven. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Deja vu.
Yeah, all over again.
The good thing is we caught it early, so.
We didn't do anything.
Yeah, you. Steven, it's been a while since you've been on, right?
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm still here, still kicking.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited today. We have a guest on our show today, a good friend of ours, Matt Knapp with Bigfoot Crossroads. Matt, say hello.
Hello.
How are you, man?
I'm doing dandy. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's been I know you and we've talked recently off show. But it's been a while since we talked, right? A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So I think that's been like a reoccurring theme with like the last two guests that I've had, or well, the last three, 2 out of 3. It's been a while since I talked to some of these guests, so want to make up some time. What's going on with you, man?
Just living the dream, man. You know.
Yeah.
Trying to keep the podcast stuff going, trying to get new stuff off the ground, just trying to stay healthy, stay safe, and put up with dogs.
Yeah, how many dogs do you got now?
3.
Daisy.
Yes.
Shotzi.
Chomsky's, yes.
And Kimba Slice.
Kimba Slice.
Chomsky's. Yeah, Chomsky's. I messed that one up. I totally should have caught that one. Chomsky's and
you should have got that.
And Kimba Slice. I still use that today. Kimba Slice.
Yeah. So, nobody knows what we're talking about whenever we say that, though.
Yeah, that's cool though, man.
Kimba Slice. What?
You know, Matt. You know Steven, of course, right?
Yeah, I think I do. I think we met once or twice.
Yeah, we met at a couple outings, a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Matt, you've never met Ash, right?
No.
No, never have. Never had the pleasure. I think our paths probably crossed a few times via interwebs.
Yeah, I think so
But
too.
that was about it.
Yeah, like Blog Talk Radio days, maybe.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Blog Talk Radio.
And I took a
Blog
long
Talk Radio.
hiatus from everything.
Yeah. Well, because I know, I've talked to Matt in the past about you, and whenever we had met and stuff like that, and we were communicating and stuff. So I know I've talked to you. I've talked to Matt about you a lot. So.
Ooh.
So.
Oh yeah, I know all about Ash.
Oh. Do you?
I know you don't like to be called Ashley.
No, it makes me feel like I'm in trouble.
That's true. That's true. I get that all the time. Hey Matt, so let's. I wanted to talk a little bit. I know. How did you and I meet?
We didn't. We've never met before.
We didn't. You said.
No.
That's awesome.
I mean, I assume that you mean in person.
Either one. We can talk about either one.
I mean, my main memory of meeting you, a lot of it's a blur. It's been a long time, but it was I was rolling with the homie Chad Scott.
Oh yeah, Chad Scott.
And we were going down to Texas. I had heard about you through Chad a lot. You guys were pretty close friends, I believe.
Yeah, we were.
And we were visiting Paris, Texas for a little get-together event. And we were rolling up to the location. And there's this Mexican dude with a beanie on walking across the road like Patty.
I totally forgot about that, man. Totally forgot. It was like super hot then too, right? And I was wearing a beanie.
Yeah, it was hot, and I was like, "This cat's wearing a beanie."
I think then I had.
But I'm from the big city, so I was used to it.
Yeah, because I had long hair, I think, at the time, and I was just trying to get it to go back or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, you had the longer hair, and
Weird.
I've been thinking about that over the past couple of days, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, if memory serves me right, I saw you, and I can still see you in my head, like walking across the road like a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And Chad goes, you know how Chad has that monotone drawl. And he's like, "There's Bob." And that was it. That was my introduction to you in person.
Yeah, because
then I tried tagging around you and the boys that weekend and get to know you better.
Yeah, because I can't think who was. I can't remember who was all. I know it was you, Chad, Ken Marvel, Buddy Britt, Luke was there.
Yeah,
I think Luke.
I think he was.
And I think it was some other people that I'm not going to mention. So, but is anybody
probably nobody else worth mentioning?
Yeah. So,
well, I was in there, so
yeah. You weren't there. You were in Arkansas then, weren't you?
I was probably still in high school.
Oh yeah, you were probably still in high school. I forgot about that.
I don't think I was there.
No, you weren't. I think.
I think I was jamming out to NSYNC at the time.
Yeah, I think you were like 8 or something.
Yeah, I was definitely jamming out to NSYNC.
That's their demographic.
Yeah.
Or a 40-something-year-old Mexican man. You never know.
Yeah. Man, those were the days.
Yes, they were.
We were meeting up in Paris, and we were going over some video and stuff like that. I won't go into that, but that's where we first met, and we kind of hit it off. Because what I can recall is that a lot of your views and my views were kind of like mirrored each other, and I kind of digged it. And I know I was really close to Chad at that time, and he was pretty close to you. So anybody who was friends with Chad, I was friends with like automatically. It seemed to be that way because that's just how I saw it. Because like Chad didn't get along with Craig Woolheater, and so I instantly like gravitated toward him. And so,
Right.
But I don't know. I just felt you were a good person, and I just wanted to hang out with you and talk to you and stuff like that. So that's what I recall.
And then you got to know me.
And then I got to know you, and it was like, bam.
Yeah, I remember I ditched everybody that I knew that was there and like went upstairs on that little balcony thing and hung out with you and your guys watching the videos.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of cool, man. That was some good stuff.
Yeah.
And then like after that we like started conversing, like we started chatting online a lot, right?
Chatting it up, man.
Yeah.
We were talking all the time after that.
Yeah, we were. I mean, because I think at the time we were the TBRC. I mean, I had already left the TBRC at that time already. So, and you weren't affiliated with any groups, were you?
Nah.
Okay, you were just doing like indie stuff and just looking up stuff and.
Yeah, me and the other people that I met on the internet, we had been part of an organization, but we had left that organization and we're just kind of freelancing it, I guess you would call it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was freelancing at that time with Ken Marvel, Buddy Britt, Tim Clay, over in Lamar Point at that time. So I was doing a bunch of stuff because I thought at that time I was restricted from doing stuff that I wanted to do from the TBRC. So as soon as I left that group, I kind of hooked up with those guys and started doing.
Well, Craig had all those freaking rules, didn't he?
Yeah. It was kind of Craig and Luke at the same time. So we had a lot of restrictions and we weren't allowed to do certain experiments, and we had to stay scientific. And
Yeah, that's the problem. Like with an official organization like that, it's like a business.
yeah.
And so it's like, this is our model and this is how we do things, and you don't stray from these things because then it makes us look like we don't know, like,
Yeah.
it's like, this is our image and we have to do this. And, that's why, I mean, to begin with, it's fun, but as time goes on, it's restricting.
It started us as fun.
Yeah.
Because like we had to sign a code of conduct. We had guidelines we had to follow, and it was just restriction upon restriction.
Even if those are introduced restrictions,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't know what you're going to come upon when you're out there. So, even if you decide yourself, this is things like this, and it's like, this is how we do it. It limits yourself. It limits what you can find out, what you can dig into, really, because you just kind of, there's so many things now that I personally, thinking like that and doing like that, looking back on some things where you're just like, psh, no, whatever. Yeah. That's not how I do it. That's not what I believe. It's very close-minded and limiting.
Matt, did you like group style? Did that like turn you away from joining a group, or like, want to join a group again? Kind of deter you a little bit?
Yeah, quite a bit. Not because of being in a group per se, but all of the politics that go along with it.
Right.
Man.
The crabs in the bucket, everybody's fighting, to get seniority and be the leader of the group. And, the leader wants to do things one way and you want to do things a different way. And it ends up, in my opinion, unless you can find a group of people that are all on the same page all the time, which you're never going to find, it just ends up creating problems in the long run. I believe more in coalitions, you got everybody likes having a research partner, and that seems to be the best way to work, is finding a person you can get along with, that you share beliefs with, where if you want to say, hey, this time let's try this, they're not going to like, oh, that's against the rules,
Right.
Having those groups of people and then working with other groups of people that are doing the same thing and sharing information back and forth and ideas and everything. And every now and then getting together and going on a larger outing or whatever. I think that's great. But otherwise, everybody's just playing soldier or scientist or whatever you want to call it and trying to be the boss.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I had more fun as an independent person than I did. I mean, because like, to be honest with you, I'm blessed and I'm happy that I joined the TBRC, because I wouldn't be able to meet like people like, you know, Ash and you and, you know, Ken Marvel and Tim Clay. I wouldn't be able to join, you know, meet anybody like that, because I owe it all to Luke and putting the group together. But I think I had more fun, to be honest with you, like doing like independent stuff and like,
It's not as serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're there with your friends, the people that you choose
yeah,
to be around, and doing it on your own time, at your own pace. You don't have a client always, you know, and you're not, oh, we got to get this ready get this website thing done, or we have this schedule and we have this time frame and this is what we guarantee that, you just do it for yourself,
yeah.
for knowledge sake.
Yeah, for information
Yeah.
and sharing and stuff like. Because I know for a fact, whenever I was doing stuff in Paris, I mean, and this is going to sound kind of funny, I was peeing on trees all the time. So,
Can you imagine putting that on your website?
I know.
Which, it's effective.
BeyondTrees.com.
Yeah. You can get a different kind of clientele after that. but-
Yeah, because like I know for a fact, like Tim and I were doing this experiment on this tree in Lamar Point, and we were putting these tires on this tree that didn't have any branches, so we had to get a ladder and then go on there and just dump these tires down this tree, and the bottom tire was like colored red, or I forgot what color, but it was colored something red or yellow or something. And we wanted to see if the whatever area that came in the area would like notify it, and it wouldn't. So I peed on it like the following week, and the whole tree was pushed over.
Didn't they also kind of get that on audio, or?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I think Ken and Boudros Brett got it on audio, but I think we didn't have really nice cameras back then.
Yeah. Well, the audio is really really interesting. He was cussing you out, man.
yeah. So I know I peed on it. Tim peed on it. He probably not gonna like I said that, but yeah, we all took turns peeing on it. So.
I mean, everyone knows that's what you do when you go with your buddies out in the woods anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, whatever.
It's like whatever.
Just don't cross streams.
Yeah, just across the streets.
Don't cross the streams.
Unless you absolutely have to at the end.
Oh man. Matt,
I wouldn't suggest turning towards anyone while you're peeing.
yeah.
I don't understand the mechanics personally.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's like, that sounds kind of
Yeah. At that point, it's just best you should just have it back to back.
yeah,
Just back
yeah.
to back.
How did we get into peeing?
Because you peed on the tire.
That degenerated fast.
And how to pee.
How do you feel about groups and peeing on each other?
I mean, if it works, it works. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not going to
yeah.
question your methods.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole tree got pushed over. So
Everyone was a consenting adult.
yeah, we didn't have to sign any forms to do that. We just
Yeah.
kind of just did it. So it
Yeah,
was kind of cool. So
Nobody was wearing
As
an
long as
official
you
logo.
have proper documentation.
yeah.
Robert, how did y'all? Hey, I'm gonna go piss on this tree real quick. Okay, I'll piss on that after you're done. Is that how it went down?
No, it was like we were doing the experiment. We were trying to get the Bigfoot to like notice that one particular tire, and it wasn't like a couple weeks had gone by and they hadn't noticed it or they hadn't messed with it. We knew they were coming by that area, but we weren't for certain why. I said, why is he not? So I said, let's just pee on it. So we peed on it and and they end up pushing it over.
Pee on it.
Because like I think
I don't believe any of that. I don't think that's how it went down. I think somebody just had to pee.
yeah, no, I'm serious because like I think whenever we were in Silver Springs, and this was like maybe 6 months or maybe a year earlier, Luke had acquired. I don't know how he got it. He had acquired like some chimpanzee pee.
Internet.
Yeah, and so so we
I'm
use
gonna need some verification on that.
yeah, he acquired it, and then we end up using it in Sulphur Springs a couple times, and I don't recall if we got any results from it, but
Interesting.
yeah. So I don't know, because like he was really into like making these like these concoctions with like Mexican plums and persimmons and whatever was in the area, and we just smash up and put it like in like a mesh, and then put it like a t-shirt, and then like kind of squeeze it, and then like hang it like in a tree to see if we get any kind of result and stuff. So sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. So
I mean, that's smart, because then you know what they like. It's just part documentation. I know that those pamphlets. I wish I still had it that he gave us at that little meetup we had.
Yeah.
There was like a huge booklet, was very informative.
Yeah.
About things like that.
That's the way Lucas is, man. He's very informative. But Matt, I was going to ask him, because I know you and I talked about this before in the past, but what got you into Bigfoot or cryptids? What started you down this path?
Oh wow. It was kind of like a number of things. I've always been interested in the paranormal. And whenever I was young, your only access to information, before the internet, was through books and a random TV show that would come on. Like, we didn't have cable or anything. And I remember they would play reruns of In Search Of sometimes on TV. And that was probably my first introduction to Bigfoot. And then Bigfoot would get lumped in with the paranormal stuff in books and in the section of the library. So I'd read things every now and then. And my great-grandparents took me to a garage sale. We were running around, and I found a paperback book called Bigfoot and Nessie. And like half the book was about Bigfoot and half the book was about Nessie. And my grandma bought it for me, and I started reading stories. I remember the only story that I recall from the book was the Albert Osman story. Because, as a little kid, that freaked me out. Like, you mean they snatched him up while he was sleeping in his sleeping bag?
While he's camping?
Yeah.
And they made him stay?
Yeah. They wouldn't let him leave. But yeah, so that was my introduction to Bigfoot. It's kind of weird. I remember having a dream about a Bigfoot whenever I was real little, where there was a Bigfoot standing outside my bedroom window, and it was like motioning for me to follow it into the woods. And it was kind of like a prophetic dream, I guess. I had no idea, much of anything about Bigfoot at the time. But then years and years and years later, the interest was always still there and everything. It was 1998, got a computer, sitting there mesmerized by all the information that was at my fingertips. And after I'd had it a while, I was sitting there late one night and thought, hey, I'll type in Bigfoot. And I typed in Bigfoot, and my mind was blown. It's not just in the Pacific Northwest. It's all over. There's groups of people that go out looking for them. I ran across the GCBRO site, I think it was, or Mary Green's old site, or someplace like that, where there's like pictures of supposed tracks and animal kills and things like that. And reached out to the only scientific organization, the BFRO, as they claim to be, and sent in an application.
Ooh.
Like a greenhorn wet behind the ears, not knowing anything about anybody. Then got a message on my answering machine one day from a guy named Matt Moneymaker, wanting me to return his call at a 1-800 number. And I was like, my name's Matt. It's an 800 number. He's saying his last name is Moneymaker. Like, this is a scam. This is fake. And so I didn't call him back. And then like a week later, I'm back on the internet looking up stuff and realize like, oh, wait, that really is his name. And so I emailed him, and he welcomed me to the BFRO organization and asked me if I could provide a place for researchers to stay, what equipment I had, if I could make any financial contributions to the group. All my answers were no. And so nothing happened. I didn't get access to the message boards. He didn't give me anything. And then they, back before they got real big, they used to post on their website, like, we're having an upcoming outing here. If you want to participate, click here.
Oh, no.
And there was one for Oklahoma. And I'm like freaking out, like, oh my God, Oklahoma. Yeah. Sending email after email after email and like hearing nothing. And then finally I email Moneymaker and I'm like, hey, I think the website's broken. Like, I keep on clicking, trying to join the outing that's coming up in Oklahoma, and I'm not getting anywhere. And he was like, well, you didn't say you had any equipment, did you? And I was like, well, I mean, I've got like a Polaroid camera, but I know how to use equipment. And he's like, yeah, some of the equipment we're going to have out there is really expensive, and, we don't want it getting broken or anything. Maybe something will come up in the future where you can attend. And I was kind of bummed out about that. I mean, I didn't know anything, but I thought, well, I'm another set of eyes and ears. I mean, I don't see what it would hurt to have me there. And that was the last communication I had with him. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't have access to the message boards or anything, so I didn't know anybody else in the group. I mean, I was just a lone individual at the time. So I went elsewhere and started talking to other people. The path eventually led me to you.
I wrote to the BFRO too, but like before I got, in touch with Luke and we formed TBRC, and I didn't get anything. I didn't get an email. I didn't get nothing. So you got a call, an email, a message board, man.
Yeah.
So
and a big fat no on attending anything.
You didn't give him any money.
I didn't have anything to offer them. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I would have said yes to that either. It's a little strange. You're like, you want people to come and stay with you? I'm like, no.
Well,
yeah. And at the time, I had moved back home.
Right.
And my great grandfather was sick, and I moved back here, and it was like, well, I'm not going to have some stranger come here.
Exactly. That's odd that they would even ask, No.
Yeah.
Man.
So Moneymaker.
Yeah, that's just kind of odd, man. How that all happened and how that went down, because I was desperately trying to get in touch with anybody, and I didn't get nothing. The only thing I got was Craig Woolheater to write me back.
Oh.
So
it worked out in the end.
Yeah. I think Matt won on that
Craig.
one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Craig, whenever I met him, that was a weird story too, because I just knew him off the internet, and we had never met in person or anything. And it was at that second TBRC conference, I think it was 2002.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering right. I think you were there.
Was that the one at the church?
It was at a church, yes.
Yeah, actually, I was there. Steven and I were there.
I didn't know you, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
And Chad wasn't there, so... or maybe he was... I don't remember. What I do remember, I've never met Craig before.
Right.
I get there, and, like, he was having everybody meet up in this parking lot. It was the first night where you're going out to eat, and then the next day is the conference when it actually starts. I guess this was a Friday.
Yeah.
And it costs money, He's charging like $20, $25 a head.
It was
and so we all meet up in this parking lot. Yeah, the Mexican place.
It was a Mexican place.
And
I'm sorry, I was over here not laughing out loud.
it was like horrible food too.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like, I don't know, like he didn't want anybody to get menus. Like we all had to have the same thing. We had our choice of like, I think like a taco or an enchilada or something. But like he was charging it $25 a plate, and it was like $7 for the meal. But whatever.
What a shit.
The point is, we had never met before, and like we're doing like the whole introduction, like, "Hey, I'm Matt." And he's like, "Oh, hey, Matt, nice to finally meet you. Hey, will you do me a favor? Will you go around and collect everybody's money for me?"
That sounds like him.
And he had me go around and like collect everybody's money, and like at $25 a head, you know, by the time I'm done, I'm holding a wad of cash.
Hey, stranger, go get all this cash for me.
Yeah, and I'm just
that?
like,
these people
I'm
are
just like,
weird.
man,
See,
I could just
Team
bounce
Leader.
right now.
Yeah, you'd have been baller in my heart if you'd done that.
Deuces.
Baller.
If I had known, you know.
Wow.
Local Bigfoot researcher
Yeah.
Rob's.
Yeah.
He used to try to boss Steven around all the time, and I wouldn't. Not to say that he was doing that to you, Matt, but he used to tell Steven, "Hey, Steven, go do this." I said, "Don't tell him anything. Don't tell Steven anything." I said, "You do it yourself."
You bitch.
So you were saying, Matt?
Great order.
I was just saying, like, at the time, you know, that was the first thought that popped in my head. Like, dude, why aren't you walking around collecting the money? It's your conference.
It doesn't take long to figure it out why he wasn't walking.
It does not take long.
Yeah, that guy is something else.
I tell ya.
But anyway, I was going to ask you, Matt, what's the biggest influence in Bigfoot startup and why?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Like a person?
Yeah.
Man, there's a number of people.
I mean, we got all night, brother.
Chad Scott, because, you know, he was my research partner. Actually, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had a lot of the experiences I got to have. Dan Rickey.
Good guy.
Another big one. Yeah. I would say, believe it or not, Luke Gross was an influence on me after I met him and everything. Because everybody that I had met being in this region, was more, I don't know how to call it, less serious, less analytical about it, where I had more of an analytical mind and was more into, like, you know, the deeper thinking about it. And Luke was like that. And it was kind of like, I had lots of respect for him. He was a very intelligent guy and knew a lot about this subject.
Agreed. Have you listened to our episode that we did with him?
No.
You should. It's really good.
Yeah, we end up talking.
Maybe I will.
We end up talking with him like 6 hours before we actually maybe
No.
5. Maybe it was like five
It
or
wasn't that long.
it was. We talked for a long time.
for a long time, yeah, but it wasn't 6 hours.
It
I don't
felt
think,
like
but-
6 hours. I'm clumping in our podcast with
yeah,
that too. So,
well,
but
okay, then maybe.
But we talked to him for a long time before, and like he just kept going. And I said, Luke, I go, we need to stop and start recording. So, because we actually drove to his house in Hawkins to go do the interview. So, but it was pretty neat, and I totally agree with you on that, on Luke, because I tell people this all the time, and you know, and I always say before like the internet started getting fast, there was hardly anything in Texas except for the GC, and he was a part of that too. So like before that, there was nothing in Texas that had anything until he formed TBRC, and then once he started forming TBRC, other groups popped up, and I always say he's the grandfather of Texas Bigfoot, and
You really do.
Yeah, and I will always say that, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, maybe Tom Slick beat him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Age wise,
yeah, age wise, but yeah,
but he was just throwing money around at other people, you know.
Yeah.
If I knew Luke before I met other people, he'd probably be at the top of my list.
Right on, man. You got like anybody else, or you want
to? Bobby Short.
Yes, I love that you said that. I love her so much, and I miss her so much. She was such a good lady, and I feel bad I never got a chance to meet her.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
So much information was lost with her.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
It is, because she was actually an honorary member of TBRC whenever we first started. So.
Wow.
She was actually supposed to come to the very first Bigfoot conference, but she couldn't make it. And then I remember talking to her at least about 4 or 5 times on the phone, and it was like always informative, and she was always polite, always had time, and she would give any information to me as whatever I needed. And I thought she was just a great lady, and not too many people talk about her at all. And I feel bad about that.
Yeah. They use her information though.
Yeah, they do.
All the time.
Is her grandson still running that website? Do you know?
I don't know if he is, but I mean, it's still up. I know people were trying to buy it to get all the information, but I don't know if he ever ended up selling it or if he's still running it or what the deal is, but it's still there.
I just wanted to mention this really quick. Didn't you and I try to acquire that or try to get him to give us?
We may or may not have.
It's conjecture, right?
Yeah, because I think
I cannot confirm or deny
that. Because I think
that some emails may have been sent.
Yeah, because I think we had discussed that amongst because we had done some heavy talking in the past about acquiring them or something, but we were unsuccessful on that.
Yeah, which sucks because I should have talked to Bobby about it before she passed away.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too, and I just but because I think right before I found the TBRC, I was going to her website a lot and getting information, and her website had so much stuff in it, so many articles and so many links and just so much stuff. It was just like I didn't know where to start sometimes.
Yeah. And she was one of those people. I mean, you're talking about somebody who was there when this whole thing started. Like, if you talk about the 4 horsemen of Bigfoot, Bobby was there. The way things were, not mentioned, Mm-hmm. She was a woman. But she was totally open and accessible to talking to whoever, if she liked you. if she didn't like you, she wouldn't talk to you. But hearing her talk about, writing back and forth letters to exchange information about what the current Bigfoot activity is, because there is no computer, there is no internet, and watching the whole literal Bigfoot field develop over the years right before your eyes, and knowing, how we know one another. You hear things like, you'll hear Jeff Meldrum's name, and he's kind of almost a celebrity in the Bigfoot world. He's not really approachable. He's not my friend. I don't know anything personal. I haven't hung out with him or anything like that. But whenever you talk about Renee DeHinden and Bindernagel and all these people, Bobby knew them. had hung out with them. And, if they were a son of a bitch, she'd tell you. She didn't care.
Yeah.
And just a wealth of information. Did not have the stereotypical attitude of, Bigfoot's from the Pacific Northwest, and we can talk about your little hundred apes or whatever later. She was very nice and very set in her ways and her ideas, very opinionated. I saw her go toe-to-toe with whoever, did not care, wouldn't back down.
She didn't like Craig Willieder either.
Well, he's a creep, man. How many women did you have that worked with him, honestly, that haven't said that?
The only person I know that didn't say it was Monica Rollins, we're unrestricted. I know.
No, it's not because of restriction; it's out of personal fear.
Oh, I see. Well,
It's just got bad vibes.
Yes,
Speaking from personal experience,
I'll give her my number. Use it. So, man, yeah, because I love that you mentioned her because I think Mike Hall last week mentioned her last week too, and I go, man, I love that. Anybody that mentions her is dear to my heart because she was such an influence on me and getting into Bigfoot and stuff like that. So I know whenever I talked to her, I thanked her, and she was like, okay,
Well, it probably didn't come that often.
Yeah. I think I talked about her on Monster X Radio whenever I did an interview. This was a while back. And that's the first thing I did. I talked about her. So, but she was always open to talk, like you said, open to talk to anybody. And anytime I called her, she always took time to talk to me. So, but anyway. Oh man. Let's see here. I know you were saying earlier about you got into paranormal and stuff. I know because I know you pretty well. You've always been in paranormal, but what got you besides doing books, and are you doing other stuff other in paranormal at all? Are you any groups or anything like that? So
no, I thought about it at one point. There was a group here in town, here in Tulsa, that I thought about hooking up with at one point in time. But that kind of fizzled out. Paranormal is very much like all the other fringe communities, Bigfoot, alien, UFO, whatever. And I could see that there was, the same stuff going on in the paranormal community that there was in the Bigfoot community.
Absolutely. It's so bad.
And whenever it comes to Bigfoot stuff, it's obviously it's become a passion of mine over the years. But it's more of an interest where the paranormal is a lot more personal for me.
Right.
So I don't want to sit there and argue with somebody about what they think compared to what I think,
I feel
whenever neither of us really know.
Yeah, I feel the same way. We were just having a conversation, 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
Basically, where I was like, I don't care anymore about anything. I'm just doing this for myself.
Yeah.
All of it,
Yeah.
But at right now, I'm running, Facebook Pentex right now, and I'm getting at least 2 cases a week. And I'm, people reaching out to me that need help or have something going on. So usually I'm just like a facilitator. I've been handing out, cases to other groups because there's many groups within our Pentex group. And, it's that from that standpoint, I'm kind of the same way. I don't really want to join a group unless, it's actually people that I know, and I'm not really sure if I want to even do that now. So, but
here's the thing. And this is something that you and I have talked about, countless times. And the same thing in the Bigfoot world. There's not enough interest in helping people.
yeah.
If the organization is dedicated to actually helping people, then that's great. But if they're interested in being the next big TV show
Exactly.
or getting hits on their videos, you know, or whatever, then I'm out. And it's the same thing with the Bigfoot stuff. There's no organizations out there really helping people. I mean, you have a witness come in, and the first thing you do is figure out, okay, well, I want to go to their property so I might see a Bigfoot. Like, that's all it's about. You're not actually helping them. You're not, you know, the psychological aspect of it is
Right.
completely overlooked. And then there's also situations where you do try to help people, and they say they want help.
They want
But
to
I
be on
mean,
TV.
what happens if you go to a house, you know, that somebody believes has activity, and you debunk it? They're usually very
Pretty upset,
negative towards
yeah.
that.
Yeah, defensive.
Yeah, they
Unless-
want it to be haunted.
Yeah, unless like the only time that I've had it not be that way was when like they were concerned for their kids because their kids were scared. And,
Right.
you know, when they figure out like one house that we had, it was an EMF issue because the kids slept in their rooms were in a new addition that was wired kind of wonky. So all their fluorescent lights and clocks and stuff was giving off a whole lot of EMF. So it was giving these kids these feelings. And once they found out about that, they're like awesome because they thought like the kids were terrified
Yeah.
because
Well, it can be terrifying.
Yeah.
And just because it's not, you know, the disembodied spirit of someone who's passed doesn't mean something's not going on.
right.
I mean, the reaction to EMF is very real.
Mm-hmm.
It's still something going on.
Yeah, you know. But
And there was a lady actually that reached out to me, and she had some pretty intense Bigfoot activity going on her property, according to her, and she just wanted them gone. She wants to
Right.
get rid of them. She's listened to the show. You know, she thinks she knows who I am. You know, and she's asking for help. And okay, well, I had somebody that I trusted, and I set it up for them to go kind of scout things out, meet her in person, and kind of see what's going on. So they went, and whenever they were there for several hours. Nothing happened. I mean, that's usually the case. So they left, and then everything was fine. She kept emailing me, and she started emailing me just all these audio recordings and photographs. We're talking like 50. And I'm looking at the photos, and it's like, you know, your typical Bigfoot photo. Like, it's not in focus. Yeah, I see the dark, shadowy area that's kind of shaped like a head and shoulders, but that doesn't really, you know, mean anything. And she sends me this audio recording that she was just really freaked out about. And I listened to it, and I'm like, well, it's mechanical sounding. It's repetitive. It's got a rhythm to it. It sounds like something squeaking, like metal squeaking in the wind or something, like one of those ornamental windmills you have in a yard or a gate or something like that. Mm-hmm. It does not sound like anything crying to me. It doesn't sound biological at all to me. Now, this is a lady who approached me wanting them gone. And whenever I told her that her recording didn't sound like a Bigfoot to me, she made it her mission to go around and just try to discredit me to everybody she knew.
Wow.
I sent somebody out there that didn't know anything what they were doing or talking about, and they were just trying to harass the Bigfoot by throwing rocks at them, and like just made up all this stuff that, like, I mean, I believe my friend over her. He says that's not how it went down. I tend to believe him. I don't know why he would go out there and just act a fool. I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't have any interest in her. And was just, you know, very mean about everything.
She sounds like a winner.
And it's like, yeah. And it's just, you know, those kind of things, just slowly but surely drive a wedge right into the middle of,
Right.
my interest in the subject.
Absolutely. I agree. So the same thing happened to me. As people don't know what they're really have like actual expectations within reason.
Yeah.
And if you don't fit within their standard, man.
It's not like projectionists.
Yeah. Or, either they get their feelings hurt because they think that they're imagining it, and so then they feel like a fool, and so that makes them angry. Or they just want it to be real because they want attention of some sort.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, what can you do? I'm not going to lie for somebody.
No. Those are kind of disheartening a little bit too, and
Absolutely.
So
Especially when you think somebody really needs help and like they reach out to you, and then it's just something like that,
Yeah. 'Cause I know some people just want to. I don't know. They just seek attention, or they just want to believe that or just I don't know. I call it TV saturation when
Right.
someone does that.
Kind of, yeah.
Watching too much TV, and they just want to. I want to experience that. Let's just project it. And
They want a story.
so, man,
Yeah.
Matt, what's the weirdest? What is the weirdest, strangest story that you come across? It doesn't have to be like something that you've been involved with, but something you heard, or get your input on that.
Geez, throw a dart and tell me which one it hits.
Is it a glowing penis one?
That,
That
what's funny
does
is
come
that
to
was
mind, yeah.
exactly what I thought of.
Did you really?
Because that's like, I was like, yep, that's the weirdest story that I think I've heard when it comes to, this area. Yeah.
I don't think I ever told
The
that
glowing penis one, it would be there, except it has a rational explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, as crazy as it sounds, it's plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's like everything. I'll say that all the time. I'm like, man, this person was over and said this thing. But then I always have this seed of doubt. It's like, well, what if it's true?
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Just because I wasn't there and I can't explain it, or I can think I can explain it away, doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Our listeners are probably thinking, glowing penis?
What?
What are they talking
Well,
about?
you need to go back to season 1,
Yeah.
episode 3 or 4.
Yeah. So, anyway, Matt, you have any stories?
the strangest stuff to me is probably the Matt Johnson stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Dr. Johnson, you mean?
no, I'm not going to call him that. Yeah, Dr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Who is not the glowing penis guy.
Right. Right. We don't want to confuse people.
I mean, here you have, a doctor of psychology who goes out into the woods with his family, has a Bigfoot encounter, changes his world. Everything's fine for the first few years. And then right about the time his short amount of fame starts to dissipate, his story starts changing into now it's constant Bigfoot activity. They're psychic. They're from another dimension. They healed him of like all different kinds of ailments. One stuck its hand through his tent. I don't mean like punched a hole. I mean like
what is it? Portal.
They went totally paranormal, but so far into the paranormal realm that like he goes like, are you aware of like the sideshow attractions that they have where they call them like vortexes, where it's like,
Yeah.
watch the ball roll uphill and stuff like that. According to him, he can go to one of these locations and charge himself with a certain type of energy that allows him to open a portal to another dimension and allow these things to come through. using a red flashlight.
Man,
Using a flashlight. Okay.
I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't think I've heard of him, but I don't think I've ever read or, logged in or not logged in, kind of hit whatever link that he's ever talked about. I've heard people talk about him, but I said, man, I just never had time to, I don't know.
It gets too deep for me, man.
Yeah. It's like a little bit of that stuff. Okay. But when it's everything, that's usually like anytime we had team members or whatever, just like, well, this thing happened to me, and it's like it just keeps building and building and building. It's like, well,
right.
I'm kind of starting to doubt this person's credibility.
Yeah. So like, anybody that would tell us they saw Bigfoot, they joined the TBRC, and then we would go out on an outing, and they would freak out at any like kind of creak or noise. They would jump. I said, I thought you saw one. Why are you so jumpy? And I can kind of see that too. So
the Janice Carter stuff is also way up there.
Yeah.
Not just because I don't believe her, but whenever she claimed that she actually loaded them up in a U-Haul truck and moved them to her new property in a different state, that's whenever it jumped the shark for me.
She's the one that says that she was feeding them from her like side door, right? Or right, Matt? Or
Well, speaking, I mean that was that was part of it.
Yeah. She's been on a few shows and stuff, hasn't she? Or at least her story. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
She came in. We used to get on a program called Pal Talk. It was just a voice chat thing. And she used to come in there under a different name and ask a bunch of questions, and said that she was just interested in the subject. She had never had a sighting, and she'd just come in there and like ask us questions all night. And then like time passes, 6 months, a year, then she comes back under a different name, and she's writing a book with Mary Green about her 50 years of Bigfoot activity.
Man, she's a pioneer.
A lot of stories in the book mimicked a lot of the things that we had talked about in chat with her.
Wow, that's uncanny. What a coincidence.
So
that's pretty weird, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how that
kind of weird.
I was going to ask you this, and it's we could edit it out if you don't want it, but what was your biggest influence outside of Bigfoot in your life, and why?
My great grandparents and my great uncle. My great grandparents, because at retirement age, they took me to raise as an infant and gave me a life that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And my great uncle, because he was just him and my great grandfather were the two best men that I've ever come across in my entire life. He was just a great guy, an honest guy, a funny guy, an intelligent guy. He's like everything that, a man wants to be as a boy looking up, those two people, him and my great grandfather for sure. And then my great grandmother.
Man, that is a good story. I like that a lot. That's good.
And you, Bob.
No.
No, seriously. I do. I mean, if you're my friend, on a close level, like, you are, even though we went years without talking, I mean,
that doesn't matter.
Right. It doesn't matter. I mean, I told you, I love you. I always will. Nothing matters. Whatever.
Yeah. I'll say this. I love you too. And I know when we talked about you on our episode of Bigfoot Magazine, I talked highly of you then. I'll talk highly of you now. So I mean, and I know Steven feels the same way about you too. So
Is that right, Steven?
Of course.
Steve and I, we shared many a donuts and many a Pepsi.
No.
Yes, we did.
What was the name of the donut place over by you?
Daylight Donuts.
Daylight Donuts. The crack donuts.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys talk about? Gaming and stuff like that, or what?
Oh, stupid shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
We talked about everything.
yeah. Yeah, we talked about everything. There were many naps involved too. We'd nap.
Yeah.
I'd have Kimba Slice. Here's my napping dog.
I mean, after you've had a round of donuts and Pepsi at 8 o'clock in the morning, you tend to crack.
Yep.
Hey, as long as he's not like swimming on the sofa.
Steven never went for any laps around the living room pool or anything.
No. Oh my gosh.
We talk about that on Bigfoot magazine episode, so just FYI.
And there was that sandwich place that I really, really loved, man. What was it called? Ruth's?
Yeah, Bill and Ruth.
Bill and Ruth's. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I miss that.
They actually moved. Now they're closer to the house.
What?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There were some places there, Matt, that I actually kind of miss. Like I miss like Ron's Chili, and I am not a big chili person. And I love.
Yeah, Ron's Chili's good.
Man, that was a good place.
But what about Matt's Chili?
Matt's Chili was great, but I wish you put it on a burger. that would have rocked if you put it on a burger.
Can.
Oh yeah, I guess you could. But
yeah.
There's some pizza places there too, like Hideaway. I can't think of the other ones. Help me out, Matt.
Hideaway, Mazzio's.
Yeah, Mazzio's.
Mazzio's like the big local one.
Yeah, that's.
I
think they built a Jack in the Boxes like as soon as I was moving back. I was like, I was so heartbroken about that. I was like, give me a break, man. That was.
Come on, man.
Yeah, and we actually had a new pizza place open up, and we had it the first time last night called Hungry Howie's. And this is not an endorsement.
Hungry Howie's.
Not that great. Yeah.
How about
no wonder Howie's hungry because his pizza sucks.
How about Joe Mama's Pizza? Is it still there?
No, man, that place burnt down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they're gonna like open back up and like never did. Everything has changed.
Yeah.
Since you were here. Like completely. I'm now surrounded by like microbreweries and weird hipster stuff.
Yeah. Man, you have to get a scarf and a fedora or something, man.
I can't do that.
Yes. That's my Matt. That's my Matt there.
Cannot do that.
There's Matt.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, it's been a minute since we talked, and I told Tim Clay and the Marvelous Marv that I was talking to you again. So they were both happy that I was talking to you again.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
Because like Timmy's like
Kenny Marvel.
Yeah, I just call him the Marvelous Marv. And that guy's got more stories about non-Bigfoot stuff that I've ever heard anybody talk about. So
I like his Bigfoot stories.
Yeah, his Bigfoot stories are great, but he's got more stories, about other stuff that I can't say on the radio on the podcast that I can't really.
Well, maybe I don't know.
So, but
you can reach a wider audience.
I know.
I mean, what kind of stories do you want? Like, is that a challenge or?
Yeah, no, I was kidding. No, but they were both pretty happy that I was talking to you again. I told them, and so they were thrilled, and because I was talking to them because I was actually asking them if they wanted to come back on the show, but I wanted to get them both on the show. So
right, they're kind of a team.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty good together, and I think at the time Tim's podcast was like the most downloaded one for a while. So people really liked Tim's podcast, and but I wanted to ask you, talk to us a little bit about Bigfoot Crossroads.
Okay. It started out as a website, mostly a blog. And then I got tired of doing that. Whenever I write stuff, I love writing, but geez, not everybody wants to read, 3,500 words on what's bothering me about the Bigfoot world that day. And that's what it was starting to turn into. I did get some recognition for a few positive articles I wrote, but most of the stuff on there was like pretty negative. It's sitting dormant now, still there, still have the domain and everything. Thinking about relaunching it. And then there's the YouTube channel where I have in the past hosted Bigfoot Outlaw Radio over the years, and anything that I wanted to post Bigfoot related would go on that channel. Now I've created a like page for it, and I'm kind of in the process of restructuring and rebranding everything to kind of really push Bigfoot Crossroads as its own brand and everything, and kind of put the other stuff in the rearview mirror. I've pretty much retired from the Bigfoot community, retired from the Bigfoot Outlaws. It's just time to focus on me and kind of do my own thing, and actually get some things out there that I've just sat on for years and procrastinated with. And Bigfoot Crossroads is kind of in that category. I was actually going through my older files and found a folder that said Bigfoot Crossroads from some old hard drive of mine, and I opened it up and it was the very first early years of me creating a logo and stuff, before I even knew what I was doing, and trying to outline graphics and stuff. It was horrible. Lots of dream catchers and stuff.
How does a person find Bigfoot Crossroads? I mean, it's only on YouTube right now, or is it?
Yeah. If you type in Bigfoot Crossroads on YouTube, you'll find it. If you type in Bigfoot Crossroads on Facebook, you'll find it.
Okay.
Or if you type in BigfootCrossroads.com, you'll find it.
Whenever we're done here, I'll add all your links on there and get it on there so that way people can find it and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for you. I'm excited for you. I'm excited that we're talking again and we can collaborate on some stuff. So,
yeah, that's the stuff that I'm really looking more forward to, is the future stuff. Not so much what's happened in the past.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think collaborating with you would make me happy, and because I want you to be successful. I want to be successful, and I just want to make sure that because a lot of it is the whole reason why I started the podcast, because I've sat on my hands for the longest time on people in the Bigfoot world, or even the paranormal world, that are up in front where people can see them, and there probably shouldn't be getting this time or this light. And so I kind of wanted to, push people that I think should be brought into the light, and kind of because most of the good people are not going to toot their own horn, and they're just not going to do it. And so I think doing the podcast is kind of like I talk about people that I think are big influences, and they're doing positive things, and no one's talking about them.
Well, for years, I spent my time focused on the research side.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you know, after I got involved in research, I did have an encounter. I had a sighting that changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, there's the conflict of being a witness and a researcher. And keeping those kind of separated as much as you can, because it kind of changes things whenever you're like, now you're a researcher and you're going out there and you're trying to be critical of everything you're finding. But at the same time, in the back of your head, you're like, well, I know they're here. I've seen one. I know it's out here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this could be one, this could be evidence of a Bigfoot. And I really focused on researchers and what the research was and what was happening, what were the findings, what were the opinions, what does everybody think? And now I want to get back and actually focus on the witness, the people who have had these experiences, because at the end of the day, that's what counts. Those are the people that are just wanting to tell their story, just wanting to talk to somebody else that knows what they've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, somebody that's seen a Bigfoot for, a few seconds knows more about them than a researcher that's never seen one that's been out there for 30 year, you know?
Just helping people that way. Cause I know we did an episode Longview and we interviewed John Doe, and he said he only saw the Bigfoot for 8 seconds. And this thing's been a big influence in his life, and was having some night terrors, and I think talking to us helped him out a lot. And so, he would have dreams he had never told his wife, never told his kids, and he only talked to us about it. And I think anytime you give people that platform, and someone listens to the show, and it may open up for someone else to say, hey, this guy's talking about it, I can talk about it too, and this thing's been bothering me for however years and stuff. So I think it's good for us to do that, because to focus on people and just helping them and just giving them info. So because I was telling the guy, I said, man, I wish I'd known you back then, because I could have helped you out. I could have walked you through. And he says, that's cool, but I don't think I ever want to go back out there. So, but
I think it also gave him a new perspective on what happened that night too, to kind of understand why this guy did what he did,
Yeah.
why he was acting like that,
Because didn't he say after hearing our show that he actually never thought of them having a family or younglings, or because I told him I said, men,
like a Jedi.
so I told him,
what Anakin did, right?
man, but I told him, I said, he goes, because I asked him, I said, why do you think this thing happened the way, this Bigfoot reacted to you? He goes, I don't know. It was a monster. I said, dude, you came between it and its food and its family.
So instead of it being a monster, it became a father or
a parent
or whatever, a patriarch of this group, or what be it,
Yeah. So, I don't know. So getting back to what you were saying about that, I just think it's important. I mean, for us to do that, because I don't know. I mean, I think of us in the same way, and we can provide that for listeners and people who click into our shows or links and stuff. So I want to provide that for people.
Regular people don't think about Bigfoot every day. Regular people don't talk about Bigfoot every day. Regular people don't have dreams about Bigfoot.
Right.
Regular people live boring lives. I mean,
that's true. But I'm just saying, that's how much of an impact it can have on you.
Yeah.
And, I've gotten emails from people in the past, hey, listening to your show really helped me out. It really opened my eyes to some things, or past guests that would come on, like, hey, that really helped talking about that. And like, those are the things that mean something to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting the accolades or the pat on the back from a fellow researcher who agrees with my opinion,
Is that one person
And,
that changes it from no to maybe?
Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff that, that's what drives me to keep doing this stuff. Because the people suck.
Right.
Yep. People do suck.
They do.
Oh man. Anything you want to talk about before we get off, or anything else?
Anything you want me to talk about? There's nothing like I'm trying to get off my chest or anything.
Oh man.
Come clean now.
Yeah, come on, Matt. I was kidding.
Here's your opportunity.
What type of shows? What shows are you watching right now?
You just asked me this question on the phone the other night.
I know, but it's not being recorded.
Tonight, I'm going to probably at some point start watching the second season of Umbrella Academy.
Yes.
Mm.
I need to finish the first season.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched. No, I haven't. I haven't watched the latest episode of Doom Patrol yet, which is out.
Okay.
Mostly I watch movies because I've like ran through like every TV series that I can find that would possibly interest me. So like I'm not really watching anything at the moment. Waiting for stuff to come back, so I can finish it off like Supernatural.
Yeah.
Amen
to
might
that.
be in for a little bit of a wait on that.
Yeah. I'm
A
waiting.
little bit.
In a way, I'm kind of glad because I wasn't ready.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
I wasn't ready, so this is like delaying the inevitable.
I was just going to say that I was like late to the Supernatural train. So like I've done that with so many shows where like I figure out that it's worth watching like 5 seasons in. So I binge watch it and then they cancel the damn show every single time.
Yeah, I've had this conversation before too, right? And you were saying,
yeah,
I'm not
like
watching
Lost. I didn't watch Lost until the season before the last season.
I still haven't watched it.
And like I binge watch and they're like, we're just going to cancel it next year. I'm like, what? Can't do that.
At least it had a finish. I've had a lot of them. Like, cause I like a lot of.
Oh, you mean Deadwood? You want to talk about Deadwood? We can.
I like a lot.
You
of
guys remember Deadwood, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Swidgen.
I still haven't watched the Deadwood movie.
I haven't either. I haven't got a chance to watch it either. So.
Really?
No.
You had like a
I'm
year
just not
of
watching
prep?
it out of spite at this point.
You literally went.
Like they took too long. Yeah. I went all that time. They released it, and I'm like, you know what? Screw you. I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
I actually went to Deadwood
Yeah.
about 3 weeks ago.
What?
Yeah, I went to Deadwood like 3 weeks ago.
He met Swidgen. He was there.
I actually ate in Al's saloon too. So Swidgen.
He gave you like a shot of whiskey and all that stuff too.
Yeah. He said he goes drink up, cocksucker.
Did he?
Yep.
We can say that on our show now.
Of course.
Awesome.
Unrestrained.
Are you just fucking cocksuckers from Dallas?
Well, yes.
So
Yes, I am.
That's not always a bad thing, you know.
No.
When you got a good reputation.
Simone.
From personal experience.
Simone Cacciatone. So yeah, that's shows are I don't even know. I'm watching a lot of stuff right now too, right? I'm watching The Alienist. I'm still watching Ghost Adventures. I know you guys don't want to watch that.
What?
Yeah, I'm still watching that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't like reels.
Yeah.
Anything. The only reality thing I watch is Survivor and Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, Matt.
I like the Goldbergs. Hey, Steve. You want me to call you Steve or Steven? Which one is it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But
Well, you're like a father now and all adulting, so like sometimes, like I prefer Steve now.
Call me Stevie.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, yeah. But do you remember there was a time that we tried to get Robert to watch Insidious?
Yes.
Or all those other like horror movies, and he's like, I don't need to watch it. I lived it. I live it.
Yeah.
That's the way I always
Hardcore Bobby D.
Yeah. I love it.
I was like,
No,
oh,
you
God.
don't.
I was like, please.
No.
I live with you. I don't want you to live this. So he
That's
finally
in the
started
same
watching
bed with
it.
Annabelle.
Yeah, no. God, no. But yeah, he finally watched Insidious. Have you seen Insidious yet, Robert?
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I will though.
We should watch it after this.
Yeah.
I like Insidious.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's actually
Yeah.
it was an interesting story. Very interesting story. We actually did a podcast.
Not big on the Conjuring stuff, but I
Yeah.
like the Insidious.
They're
Conjuring's terrifying.
boo movies.
What are you? Okay, you guys are more paranormally than I am. I want to ask you a question.
Go
Okay.
ahead, go.
Oh,
What's your opinion on the Warrens?
On the what?
The Warrens?
I don't have a very good one. I like Lorraine.
Okay.
I thought Lorraine was a very sweet lady, but I think Ed was looking for an opportunity to exploit anybody at
Yeah.
any chance that he can get, and maybe possibly some of the stuff that he put books out about weren't necessarily as authentic as he claimed them to be.
Yeah.
But
What did they get? What did they get caught on hoaxing? What particular
well,
did they?
like Amityville, a lot of people think that that story is bullshit. That it's haunted, but not like they claimed for it to be. That was like their first big one, but
I mean, there was like some groups still
Yeah.
using them, like Paranormal State was still using them
yeah.
for stuff. So
I feel like not necessarily that they hoaxed anything, but that they
embellished.
fabricated.
a little
Embellished?
bit,
Okay.
or just took a lot of people's words for it because it made a good story. Because there's tons of movies out there based on their cases and stuff, and they're always trying to, they want to make sure they made it. Well, Ed always wanted to make sure he made a dime off of everything,
Yeah.
And when on one hand, I can kind of understand that if you put the work in and you put the book out and everything like that, okay. On the other hand, he always made sure he had the book rights and things like that in the beginning. So, I mean...
He's a good marketer. He's a
yeah,
marketer.
I mean, that's what gives me my seat of doubt.
Yeah. So he was just selling the brand instead of selling...
But, like, I've had a few people that have talked to Lorraine on the phone, and anybody that ever met her said that she was the nicest lady that they had ever met.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't they base the movie off of her?
Yeah,
the Insidious movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's several things on.
There's a
based
whole
on
bunch.
their cases. There's a lot.
So she's got...
I mean, they've even tied the nun into that whole
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't
La Llorona.
La Llorona. Yeah. Oh yeah. All those movies.
I haven't seen that one.
It's now the Conjuring universe.
Yep.
Man.
Annabelle comes home.
They ruined that too.
Did they really?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that
Freaking
disappointed
Annabelle,
me. That disappointed me because that was one of those stories that I've always heard since I was a little kid. Annabelle and Robert the doll,
Yeah.
and they just overdid it. They oversold it. You could use the real story and not had this ridiculous doll that was unrealistic.
Yeah.
Who would ever make something like that for their child? I mean, come on.
At that point, it just became child's play. Like, oh, okay, check it out.
Hey, thanks for asking that question, Matt. I appreciate it. Hardly anybody asks us questions.
Yeah, well, I have opinions.
Well, I'm used to asking the questions.
Yeah.
So, it's hard for me to be on the mic and not ask questions.
You got like any more questions?
Yeah. Who are your biggest influences in life outside of Bigfoot?
Outside of Bigfoot, probably my dad. My dad was the biggest influence because it was 7 of us. I was number 7, and that guy was the hardest working guy I've ever met, and he was always working. And like, what was great about him too is that whenever he couldn't work, my dad was, I don't know if you knew this, Stephen, but he was a pool shark, and he was a poker hustler.
I knew this.
So so whenever he couldn't find work, he would like have $20 and he would go to the pool hall and he'd come back. Whenever he came back, he had groceries all the time. And he had Jim Dandy's chicken too. Jim Dandy's chicken, knee-high red soda, and he had a bunch of groceries. So that guy worked harder than anybody I had ever seen, and I know he's a big influence on Steven's life. So he was one of the best people I've ever known, and he was tough. He was tough growing up. He was tough because like we lived in Oak Cliff, and I was more scared of my dad than I was the gangs. So there was like gang members trying to get me to like sell drugs and stuff, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that because my dad will whoop me, and I'm not going to do that. So, but I was scared. I was scared of him. So, he's not even in this world anymore, and I'm still scared of him. so I mean, that's how big of an influence on me, And I know he's that way with Steven because like he adored Steven, and Steven adores him too. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to add anything to that, Steven?
No, I mean, like, a lot of, I won't say who, a lot of people will try and say, well, he did this and he did that. Nobody's perfect. But he was there for me. But just like you were there for me whenever my dad was not around. So,
yeah,
I was very blessed to have a father figure.
Yeah, he would. I remember when Steven was really little. Steven would pass out like on the floor playing with toys, and he'd be in front of the TV, passed out. And my dad would like look at me and goes, "Get that boy up, put him in the bed." So I said, "Okay." So I'd go over there, I'd pick up Steven, carry him to the bed. He goes, "Don't let him sleep on the floor. What's wrong with you?" And I go, "Okay, sorry, Dad." So
your dad was the old black man on Boondocks.
Who
knew?
He's from OC, man. My dad had to be whatever he had to be. So get that boy up.
Get that boy up and put him in the bed.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'll never do that shit again.
I had laughed this hard in a long time.
That's awesome, man. Because like you always hear like about all the horrible dads,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he bailed on me whenever I was born. We never had crap.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear, a dad that like stuck around and worked his ass off to provide.
Man, I'm telling you, like, none of us are in jail. None of us killed anybody. None of us, big drug dealer or whatever. And, he'd always provide everything for us. Like, so did we have the best stuff? No, but we had stuff. We had music, we had posters, and we had a house, had a roof on it. We had food, we had tortillas. Mm-hmm. Gotta have tortillas.
Yeah, chicken and soda.
Yeah, chicken and soda. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was funny because I think about a month ago, I was going through some of my stuff, and he had I still have my dad's toolbox, and so I was going through it, and he had there was a little bitty Jim Dandy frisbee inside of it that used to be mine.
No.
And I used to play with, and he kept it inside his toolbox. So he kept it that was mine, and he kept it in there. So I thought that kind of hit deep.
Man.
Me, so
whenever my great grandfather passed away, after the funeral and everything, geez, can I do it? Come on. My grandmother came to me and handed me his wallet. And she just said, here, you keep this. And I put it in my drawer in my bedroom, as a keepsake or whatever. And I don't remember how long it was. It was a while, probably like a month or so after he passed. I got the wallet out and I opened it up and started going through it. And whenever I opened it up, as soon as I opened up, the first thing I saw was a picture of me.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and that got me.
Yeah.
It was the only picture in his wallet.
That's
And,
awesome. That's awesome, man.
It was from like 1987. And he passed away in 2000.
Wow.
And yeah, and
Was it like a school
I don't
picture?
know.
Was it a school picture, or was it just a picture?
no. My mom knew somebody that was a photographer, and one time whenever I went to stay with her on the weekend, she set it up for this guy to come over and take pictures of me. You may remember the photograph. I had a larger version hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you know which one.
Mm-hmm.
The stupid one with the stupid sweater on the rock wall.
That does sound very
Jeez.
80s. Either that or like lazy.
Well, okay, so I'm a big guy, and I've always been big. And in 1987, I was a big kid, and I didn't know I was going to have a photo shoot that day. Whenever I went over to my mom's house, so I wasn't really dressed appropriately, and like I was already bigger than my mom, and so yeah, in that in that photo shoot, I'm wearing her sweater. So it's a woman's sweater, and it was too tight.
Hey, I'm gonna need some copies of that picture.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Use it for the thumbnail for this episode.
It's not going to happen.
That would be.
I'm gonna put that in my wallet.
Yeah.
Aww.
Everybody should have that photo in their wallet.
So one day, Ricardo and Sebastian will be looking at their dad's wallet and be like, "Who's this guy?"
Who's this guy?
Who is this guy?
It's Uncle Nab.
What is he doing with that chick sweater on?
I know. And can we have a copy of it?
So one day,
What's with the life preserve? Don't think she's gonna
That's
drown.
going to be the new Dominguez family heirloom. is
Yeah.
that photo.
Oh Lord, that's awesome, man. That's a great story, man. I love that. I always knew that about you, but I feel grateful that you shared that with us. That's awesome.
Wouldn't have shared it anywhere else.
We have an exclusive.
another one.
Another exclusive.
Exclusive.
That's like 3 weeks in a row.
So
What were the other exclusives?
We can't tell yet
Well-
until the episode drops.
we had the Google Girls Paranormal. They were telling us about their
immediately.
about their podcast. So
Oh, who cares? I mean, good. That's awesome. Another podcast. That's what the world needs.
yeah. But
Always.
yeah,
And
they have a podcast, and then they're on other podcasts. So they're in a bunch of podcasts. So they're
it's like Inception.
yeah
Podcast within a podcast.
yeah
A podcast within a podcast.
shared by a podcast.
Oh man, that's what I should have done. I should have recorded this as a podcast for Bigfoot Crossroads.
You should have. I mean, I have it recorded. I can always give it to you.
Yeah.
And
I can-
count.
I could. Oh, okay. So, it's got to be recorded with my equipment, Bob.
Yeah. I can't even get it to work.
Oh,
I'm not even using my stuff.
Oh, man. So I was gonna say, yeah, if you need me to be a guest on your show, I'll be more than happy to do it.
No, I'm good.
That's awesome. Got shot down while I was on the runway.
I've got plans for you, Bob.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. Good
Big
deal.
plans. I've got plans for all of you.
All of you guys. So,
What about you, Ash? You got any questions?
I knew he was going to ask you that.
No.
No?
No.
prepared.
You know, because I listened to an episode of Bigfoot Club about a thing called Bigfoot Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And during that episode, you specifically said something about me coming on the show if I was listening.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so here I am.
you act like I go back and listen to what I say.
What is this, amateur hour?
Yeah. I don't like to listen to my own voice, and once it's out there, I don't remember what the hell I said.
Yeah, because like we were talking about, because man, I really hope he listens.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
I always sling it to everybody, all my friends, everything. It's like, come on the podcast.
yeah.
Think of something
Is
to
that
talk
like your
about.
Instagram name, like Podcaster Ash?
No, my Instagram name is just my name. I'm boring.
Yeah.
I just thought it would make it easier.
For peeps to find you.
Yeah, it's just my name.
Yeah. I will say this, that I got reached out by a fan of ours, Robert R. Cuddy. He sent us an email over about the show, and he said he was a big fan. He said he listens to our show and listens to Chris Jericho's show too.
There's
And-
another one. If
You should get Jericho on here.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. It'd be perfect.
Yeah.
You should get Chris Jericho on here.
You
Yeah.
can come to my
Tell
house.
him,
I
tell
can
him
make
about
him
your
fried
other fan,
chicken.
Robert.
Yeah. Is somebody knocking?
No.
I thought I heard someone knocking.
No.
Okay. All right. Maybe
Annabelle.
it's probably me. I don't know. But
It's our friend that lives in
Tell
the
him-
hallway.
Oh God.
yeah, we
Tell him
actually
about your other fan.
we actually had some, like over here, Matt, at this duplex where we're living at. Like anytime I was like in the kitchen or washing dishes or cooking or something, which I don't cook that often, but whenever I did, I'd always see somebody walk by all the time. And I know whenever I would go out of town, Ash would see like someone in my room or crossing the hallway, right? Crossing the hallway.
Yeah. It always looks like they're walking in front of the doorway or into a door,
And so whenever I wasn't here and she would see that, she'd go to my room, go shut the door, so that way she wouldn't see whoever's walking around. But it turned out that our light, it was an older was it a T12, with the real big fat ballast in it, and it was emitting like over 20 milligauss all the time. So it was like in our kitchen, and it was just like shooting out so much EMF and stuff. So
It give me anxiety sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't do like the whatever.
So yeah, we would get that, and so I finally got him to replace the lights. So I was wondering if we're gonna get any more guests showing up here.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. So
Probably.
Here's the question.
yeah,
Do those things happen because of the EMF, or does the EMF actually cause real things to happen?
Like our ability, they're picking up on it too. Maybe.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Pulling from the energy to make a manifestation.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Right, because like that was whenever I was like really studying the subject or whatever, like that was kind of the general idea that they somehow pull energy from the atmosphere to
Right. That's
manifest at different levels. And whenever you have something putting out a lot of EMF energy, maybe, yeah, it can cause some things, but maybe it's causing those things because it's actually causing things, if that makes sense.
It's possible.
It does. It does make sense. That's pretty good. That's why I was saying I was interested to see if I noticed anything like in the house or duplex or anything like that, because I would see it all the time on the corner of my eye all the time, just walking by, and I would look up and there's a lot of times, Ash is like, believe it or not, she's like a ninja, man. Mm-hmm. She walks up on me all the time, and I go, holy crap, you scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And
I do that to everybody. So I don't know.
So sometimes I'm thinking I'm seeing stuff, and then I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
kind of crazy how sitting in the corner of my eye, and I always see like the back of someone's like arm or back or back leg or something, and I don't see the whole thing, but I just see a glimpse of it. So it's just kind of odd.
I always wanted to take an EMF meter out into the woods for Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, we went out we went out recently. Not recently. It was like
It was back in January.
January. Yeah, we went out to Hallsville, and that's where Ash and I went out in the woods whenever we first met, and they were doing paranormal stuff out there, and we ended up doing Bigfoot stuff afterwards with Luke and stuff. So we went this past January again, just to go back out there. It was me, Ash, and Chris, and it's the middle of nowhere. So
Yeah.
Is that where the cemetery was?
yeah, yeah.
We have a live on our page still. I'm probably
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we went out there, and it was in the middle of nowhere, and we were getting like 20 milligauss, like throughout the whole place, and it was
Yeah.
Animated.
See, well, why?
yeah,
It was responding to questions.
yeah, it was, and it was like there was nothing around their area that would make it go off for any reason at all. And it was like it was crazy how much
Electric tombstones.
yeah, it was just crazy how
They were
much
talking to me, and unfortunately, we lost a bunch of didn't we lose like one recorder?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
We actually got some calls there too, but I'm not really sure.
No.
I'm not really sure if it was Bigfoot or
I don't think
or
so.
it was an owl or I don't know.
I think it was a bird.
Yeah, so it was too far away for us to figure out what it was. So, because I was doing tree knocks the whole night, and we were doing 2 for 1. We were doing Bigfoot stuff and we were doing ghost stuff. Because the last time we
The
were
first
out there,
time it worked, but it's been
Yeah.
10 years.
yeah, when we were out there with Luke, we got both. We got EVPs and Bigfoot
course.
calls.
I kind of
It's
feel
just so weird whenever the differences between a man-made building of some kind compared to out in the woods, out in nature. It's just like a completely different atmosphere, obviously, but I'm saying the type of activity and everything feels completely different. It's just really weird.
What's your thought on Bigfoot's possibly being affected by E EMF?
I don't know if they're affected by it or not. Obviously, I don't know. I'm curious as to the areas that some Bigfoot activity happens. A spot in particular is what gave me the idea to try it at some point, but I never did. We went to a place in Texas that was pretty well known for Bigfoot activity. I had a sighting of something out there. I don't know what it was, but something. And but the thing that I first noticed whenever we arrived there was that this place was just, the air was thick. It was one of those places where you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And eventually, after several different trips down there, the last time I went there, I had what I would consider some paranormal experiences, mixed with what people commonly call Bigfoot zapping, which they, theory is that it's the effect of Bigfoot using infrasound.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bigfoot have that ability or not,
They have something.
but I don't necessarily agree with the theories that are out there about it. But that's not the point. The point is, I had some experiences where I definitely had some effects of infrasound, at least, as they've been described to me.
Right. What
And
could you describe what it felt like?
yeah, I felt nauseous, dizzy, lethargic. Couldn't really think straight.
Right.
I just wanted to lay down. Kind of had like clammy hands and like sweats.
Because
And it just progressively got worse and worse.
right.
And eventually it got to the point, I was very reluctant to do it because I was down there with like a group of people. There's probably 8 to 10 people. And eventually I just, hey guys, I've got to go. You know, like somebody has to put me in a car and get me out of here.
Right.
Like I feel horrible.
'Cause
And so we all loaded up and left. And after we left, I started feeling better
right.
once we got out of the area and everything. But it was like probably a good day or two before I felt 100% back to normal.
Wow. Because, like, you know, we had that occurrence over at Billy's. It was
Billy Simmons.
at Billy Simmons. It was me, Luke, and Billy and one of his kids. And it wasn't quite like that. It was just kind of like it happened and it was over. But it kind of it felt like, you know, when you get a rush of adrenaline, and it just felt like chills, and just like, oh, something's about to happen. And then it just kind of, I don't remember if it was after it had whatever was out there. We heard like kind of like a shuffling. Whoops, I dropped something. But it sounded kind of like something like just getting its feet, like kind of like skiing. Shh, shh, and then it got quiet. And then we hear this loud exhale, and then that feeling hit, and then there was nothing.
I gotta get him on.
Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's had a lot of weird stuff happen in his house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that was another place that had a cemetery, and that's one thing that kind of always fascinates me, that no one really has an answer why they seem to kind of be attracted to those type of places.
I know, Matt. We actually did a episode called Brown Springs, and I went to Brown Springs with Ken Marvel and Buddy Britt and my cousin and his wife. And this was like, I don't know, probably 2006 or something. And I went out there with them, and Brown Springs has a lot of lore there from Native American stuff, stories and stuff. And whenever we went out there, because we had heard a story, and you may have heard this one, the one about the lady from Gainesville that was killed over, and then she was like raped or something, and her legs were bent all the way back or something. And we went out there to go check it out. And when I went out there, I stepped out of the vehicle, and I was telling Ash and Chris this, that I had like anxiety whenever I got there, like something was pushed on my chest, and it's like felt really negative. And we eventually had, during that time, we had a call. We had a call from across the Red River at us, and you could hear it getting closer, and then it would go further away, and it was like so much. And then I think later on we researched it and actually found out that area was a body dumping ground for the Dallas mob, like in the 50s and 60s. And so, man, it was just like really weird to have that feeling, because I've been to a lot of places in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and I've never had that feeling anywhere before. So that was kind of odd.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they were attracted to that area because it was a body dumping ground?
Yeah,
that was the two things that kind of, you know, it's like the theory that like they bury their dead or whatever. Right. If they're intelligent, they recognize what death is. I don't know. It's just...
Well, think about what happens at a cemetery.
Right.
I mean, that's a perfect place for them to observe humans.
Right, and it's kind of ritualistic if they don't know from the outside.
Yeah.
It's just interesting, it seems. And it could just be like different energies that they're attracted to that we don't understand.
So that's why I asked the question about if Matt had thought that, you know, Bigfoots were affected by EMF or anything like that, because that was the strangest feeling I had in the field. And you know, I've been like a lot of places paranormal wise, and that was the first time I've ever been in the field, and because I'm sure there's haunted forests and stuff around, and I've never experienced it, so it was just kind of odd.
Oh, and if there is spirit activity there, then there's probably going to be EMF activity, and can also be something that causes them to behave that way there too.
I think there's a good possibility that they're sensitive to the energies of an area.
Mm-hmm.
Hardly anybody talks about that at all.
Well, right, because you sound like a a nut job if you do.
It's easier to believe in something flesh and blood than maybe something in between.
Yeah. But like, I mean, whenever we were down there in Paris, at that one location, like I had a paranormal experience there, and that was crazy, you know. And it's just real weird. Like that place and the other place I was talking about, both times were situations where I had no knowledge of the area previously, didn't really know anything about its history or anything, and then experienced something, and then afterwards talked to people and found out, you know, like, oh yeah, this was a bad place.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bigfoot are drawn to it or just sensitive to it or if it affects their behavior. But there seems to be, just like with the cemeteries, some sort of connection.
Some kind of synchronicity.
And I think a lot of cases where people think you're talking about haunted woods, yeah, certainly. But also, how many haunted woods are actually Bigfoot activity?
Right.
Or how much Bigfoot activity is actually not Bigfoot and something paranormal?
What if Bigfoot is a ghost sometimes?
Yeah, Bigfoot ghost.
Right. I mean, if humans can be ghosts, other animals can be ghosts. Why can't a Bigfoot be a ghost?
I totally, I'm on the board with that, man. That'd be creepy.
I'd be more on board with that than a
just-
Bigfoot being able to turn itself invisible.
Yeah.
Or
I was just thinking, it's like the first thing that popped in my head was, how much more equipment would that need?
we need a bigger camera.
We absolutely need a FLIR.
Yeah. But man, so far we've been going 1 minute and 52 seconds.
Wow.
So
All right, let's get this thing cranking.
Right. Finally start talking about something. Come on.
man, oh man, I think that's.
You crack yourself up listening to you.
I know. I know. I can laugh on cue too, man. Right, Steven? Steven there? No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to sleep for like 30 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's me.
I accidentally had it on mute.
Oh.
He's probably.
What are you watching, Steven?
Are you yelling at your kids?
He's probably gaming.
Oh.
No, I was.
What games are you playing?
I'm playing Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, The Last of Us 2, and that's pretty much it right now on the PS4.
Are you still consoling or? Yeah.
Yeah, I switch. I'll go to. I have the PS4 in the master bedroom. I have the Xbox in the living room, and I have my PC in the living room.
Look at
You
you.
should get a system or
I
something.
alternate.
Come on.
I do. I have many systems.
Man.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Many
Oh my God.
systems.
Oh my God. Good.
Everybody is better than me now because I'm old and my fingers don't go that fast anymore. But, yeah, we won't talk
Still
about
miss
that.
Modern Warfare 2, though.
I know. It was
Those
great.
are the
Didn't they just remaster it?
They did, but I'm afraid to play it.
Yeah.
I am definitely afraid to play that one.
I want to get Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I heard that one was good too. I might get that. I don't know, but I still need to finish The Last of Us 2. Taking my time with that one.
All right, guys. Little gamer talk.
It's all right. I'm okay
Yeah.
with it. I'm okay with it.
You can edit that out if you want.
So, do you think paranormal like goes on games too? You know?
Ghost in the machine.
I think people just freak themselves out.
Yeah.
We're almost at
Okay.
2 hours. I normally don't go 2 hours anymore.
What did you eat for dinner?
Uh,
I haven't eaten dinner yet.
yeah, actually, I ate a late lunch, so I ate like some pizza at work. This guy bought a bunch of pizza, and so I ate a late lunch. And when I got here, I didn't even eat. So I was having some.
I haven't eaten either.
You haven't eaten either?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
What's up with that? Are you fasting or something?
I don't eat. I can't eat before a podcast.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That makes
man.
sense.
Yeah, yeah.
I
that,
shouldn't.
Yeah, that's actually smart.
I'm sitting here going, I'm gonna pee. Always try to go.
Well, I mean, like, okay, so like you're hungry and you want to like hurry up and end the show because you're hungry. But if you eat before, then like every time, like stomach problems, you feel full, you get tired. Like podcasting is the last thing you want to be doing. Like I should be on the couch right now.
Yeah.
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 Accidentally burp.
It happens. It's usually me. I make all the weird noises.
The sneeze.
I gotta push out this
Listen, I
lunch.
had the flu.
Yeah.
I did.
She's like, you're never gonna let that go.
No. I thought
The
it was
sneeze
turned
before
up.
the intro.
It's at the very end, man. I thought we were clear.
That was the very end.
I held that thing. I thought we were done.
Oh, that's
Like, okay,
awesome.
bye.
Oh man, those are good times. Good times. All positive ahead of times now, though.
Hopefully.
No, we will. We
Yeah.
will. We got a good roster. And and yeah, I think collaborating with Mike. Not with Mike. Matt. Sorry, I gotta edit that.
What the fuck?
You need to make that be a soundbite.
I know.
He was looking at his mic.
No, I was looking
That's
at. Mike Hall is messaging me right now. It's all good because I love Mike Hall. He's good people. So he's a good dude. Is that group still going to the NABRC, whatever they're called?
Oh yeah.
Who's the leader of that group?
DWE.
DW. Yeah.
Yeah. Darren Lee.
Yeah, I think I've messaged him a couple times on the Real Bigfoot Community Facebook page.
Like by accident.
No, I just told him. He was like, I can't remember what it was. He was talking about something, and I told him to get lost, hippie.
You know what's?
I think I met him at the first Hanoba Bigfoot conference.
He was behind it back then.
I don't know if he was telling me about that, but I remember he walked over to Todd and Todd Partain, and he was talking to us, and he was like doing some kind of presentation, and he had like all this pamphlets out, and I just looked at it and handed it back to him. I said, okay, I don't need to see that. And then like I said, years later, he was posting something on the Real Bigfoot Community, and he had like a picture on his Facebook. His hair was like really long, like it was like covering like one eye. You know, like he was like he was goth or something, you know. And I just said, I go, get lost, hippie. That's what I told him. And
What did it over what?
I can't remember what it was. It was like something about Bigfoots, you know, in the state or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something that was outrageous. It was dumb, and I said, and I just told him, "Get lost, hippie." And I didn't know it was him until like he had responded. And I go, "Oh, DW."
Oh, well, in that case,
D-dub.
what I really meant was,
Yeah. After that, I said, "Get a haircut, hippie."
Robert.
I know. I'm sorry, but I got to call it the way it was back then. So.
Stupid.
So anyway, man, I think this is the longest time I've ever actually done a podcast.
Kind of, yeah. Maybe.
I'm sorry.
Not including the wrestling stuff either. So, I think we're gonna call it a night. And Steven, you got any shout outs?
As always, to my wife, who always calls me a bitch ass, to Ricardo and Sebastian, and to Bigfoot Club for having me,
Sweet. Too
and
sweet.
to Matt for holding it down in Tulsa.
Right on,
Hold
man.
it down.
Holding it down.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much for doing this with us, man. I really, really appreciate it. All right, man. Thanks for being on, and good night. Good night to everybody.
Enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
And, night.
I must bid you adieu. And so, goodbye. Mwah. And good night. Bang!